This is a via ferrata way up on a mountain. 2,611 meters is the summit. That's really quite high. And via ferrata is near Briançon, near the Col de Galibier, and you find it around a 45 minute walk up from this point here. You walk up that track there and you park over here, but the car park gets very busy, completely full in summer, and we're going to that high point up there. Pretty crazy. So the board says we kind of zigzag along here, intermediate difficulty, and this is what it looks like in real life. So you want to aim for that pile of scree on the left hand side, and you go into that tall point on the right. And the walk up there, I took 1 hour, had a nice nature break, sat in the shade, and it's beautiful here. Absolutely beautiful. And I followed this orange guy. I asked him where the start was, and we got started, and he shot off. Here we are at the scree bit, and it's a bit of a hike. There's a bit of veer, bit of hike, bit of veer, bit of hike, and it's mountain terrain, so not many metal bars. Often you get to a bit and you're like, oh, okay, what should I grab onto here? And then other times it's just a 45-degree dirt path, and the guy in the orange was up ahead, and you're just making your way across the mountain really. And it's a mountain ambience. People often spend 3 hours on this via. It's not one to take children to. You need to concentrate a lot, especially near the top. And you're going to spend a lot of time on the mountain, probably 2 hours. The guide says 2.5 hours, but I think most people do it in 2. And if you're slow or get into difficulty, maybe 3 hours. But that's a long time to be on a via. Some of it is walking as we go across, and the higher up you get, the harder it gets. And this is a section with some bars, so pretty easy for me. And then we reach the fun ladder. And as per usual, you reach the top of the ladder and you keep on going up. And you can see the road down below. And the via goes up some bits, goes down some bits, goes through some gaps in the rocks like a cave. There's lots of surprises, lots of different colours of rocks, lots of weird stuff. So I'm just giving you advice on roughly what's kind of here. You know, you're quite high up. There's bits where you're not clipped in, you're just walking up the side of a mountain. There's bits with no metal bars to hang on to whatsoever. Just got to take your time and pick a good rock to place your foot on. And it's a long via. I'm not going to film the whole thing. The guy in the orange waited for me a bit, and he was playing a game of not touching the metal bits. And lots of nature, lots of birds flying around. Mountain ambience. Here again, we're not clipped in, which is pretty crazy considering how high up we are on the via. You know, why not just put a cable there? So not one I'm going to bring Tom to anytime soon until he's a bit older. The guide says you need to be 1.50 meters to do this as well. And we get near the top. Pretty high up now. The summit, 2,600 meters. Another weird little cavey bit. And again, you know, there's no metal bars. There's enough rock to grab onto. But it makes it a bit slower because you have to take your time not to make a silly mistake. Lots of texture to grab onto. And then finally, this is pretty much the top. it's a difficult rated via ferrata, and I agree with that. It was difficult, and it is long. It took us 2 hours, 1 hour to get there, and then 2 hours to do the via, and that is the top. Wow. Check.
Bravo, bien joué. C'est long.
Some people can run down in an hour, but I chose to sit at the top for 1 hour and watch big birds of prey soaring and the glaciers in the distance, and just enjoy being at the top of a mountain. So yeah, mountain ambience. It's not just a touristy, quick to do via ferrata in town. This is for people who enjoy being up in the mountains and want something more interesting than just a hike. So after I had my food at the top, I started heading down, and being the last person on the mountain, there was lots of marmots squeaking about, and also some larger animals, which was interesting to watch. Often people say it's very good to be the first person on this via and get there really early, but also being the last person can also work out in your favour too. So after spending an hour at the top, I took my time on the way down just to take in all the views and the nature and the changing light, and it took me 2 hours to get back to the car, but I really was going slowly and just enjoying it, and I think that's part of this via ferrata, is enjoying the mountains. When I was at the top, a group of 3 climbers had just climbed up that steep face, and it took them 8 hours. I think there's 14 pitches in their climb. 8 hours, and that was at a 6C rating, and they had to use some aid climbing material to get up to the top. And wow, the mountains here are really, really beautiful, and the light stays on it really late. You could probably do this one on a late summer evening and head torch your way down. It's just beautiful to be up in the mountains.